Good afternoon, students. Once again, welcome back to Zoom class for Botany. Today I am going to talk about artificial methods of vegetative reproduction, which is very interesting topic today. Artificial method is a kind of vegetative reproduction in which an organism reproduces vegetatively by artificial way. That is called artificial method of vegetative reproduction. Generally, artificial method of reproduction, it takes place by two methods. One is a conventional method and another one is modern method. What is the difference between conventional and a modern method? Conventional method is a method of reproduction in which the technique has been followed for a long time. It has been used for a long time. That is called the conventional method, whereas modern method means the technology is being used in very short time. That is called the modern method. So that's the difference between conventional method and non-conventional, or it is also known as modern method of reproduction. I mean artificial method of vegetative reproduction, right? So first of all, let me take conventional method of reproduction in artificial way. It is broadly divided into three types. The first category is cutting, and the second type is grafting, and third type is layering. So there are three types of conventional methods in artificial method of vegetative reproduction, such as cutting, second one is grafting, third one is layering. What is cutting? Actually, cutting is a technique in which the plant parts are cut into pieces which are placed in a suitable growth medium. Hence, it forms a new organism by which an organism reproduces from a piece of plant which is taken from either stem or root or leaf. That is called a cutting method. First of all, let me take cutting. As I said very beginning, cutting is a method in which a part of plant is taken, a part of plant is cut into piece. This piece is placed in a suitable soil which grows and develops and forms new organism. That is called cutting. Now, cutting is broadly divided into three types. The first type is root cutting, and second type is stem cutting, and third type is leaf cutting. So the first type is root cutting. I am talking about types of cutting. Cutting is nothing but a piece of plant part, either root or stem or leaf, which are taken, which are cut into pieces. The pieces are placed in a suitable soil in order to grow, in order to emerge root system and shoot system along with the leaf branches. That is called cutting. Right. Now it is broadly divided into three. The first type is a root cutting, and the second type is stem cutting, and third type is leaf cutting. What are the difference between root cutting and stem cutting and leaf cutting? Because root, first of all, let me take root cutting. Root cutting is nothing but a piece of, this is a root system in which a piece of root is taken out. Here a piece is taken. A piece of root is taken. From that, buds or grown. This is a bud, right? So the first diagram is a root. There is a root which propagate to form next generation. It's one species. Now this is a bud. The bud which emerge out from the root to form a new organism, that is called root cutting. Root cutting, I can say some example for root cutting. Malus. Malus silvestris, that is a right example of root cutting. Malus silvestris, that is a right example of root cutting, right? And next we pass on to stem cutting. Stem cutting is nothing but it's a kind of cutting in which the part of stem is grown into bud-like structure to form. Now this is a stem portion. From the stem portion, it emerges out a bud-like structure, and these buds may be emerged out and grown as new branches. This is called stem cutting. For stem cutting, I can say some example. Bougainvillea, Hibiscus rosa sinensis, and Moringa victoria. First of all, Hibiscus and rosa sinensis. Second one, Bougainvillea. And third one, Moringa. The stem of these plants are grown into bud-like structure, that bud which grows into branches and leaf portion, that is called a stem cutting. The third type is a leaf cutting. Leaf cutting is a type of cutting method in which artificially from the leaf portion the buds are grown. Already we have discussed about natural methods of vegetative propagation. We have seen already. That is a bryophyllum is the right example for that. The buds are originated or emerged from the margin of the leaf. Now this is the margin of the leaf from which buds are grown. Such a buds are said to be as epiphyllous buds. The bud which emerge out from the margin of certain case some plants, I can say bryophyllum is the right example for leaf cutting. Bryophyllum. And one more category I can say begonia plant. So there the example of leaf cutting. I repeat once again, cutting is nothing but a piece of a plant organ, either root or stem or leaf or taken out, which are emerged as a bud-like structure, that bud which grows and develops into new species. That is called a cutting. It is a branded divided into three. The first type is a root cutting, second one is a stem cutting, third one is a leaf cutting. For root cutting, I can say example Malus. For stem cutting, I can say example Hibiscus, Bougainvillea, Moringa. For leaf cutting, I can say Bryophyllum and begonia. Next we pass on to grafting technique. So grafting is one of the method of artificial method of reproduction. I mean vegetative reproduction. The part of two different plants are taken, which are grafted. The second category is a grafting technique. First of all, I would like to mention what is grafting. Actually, grafting is a technique in which two different plants are taken, which are made as a stalk and stem. So in grafting, there are two parts of plants are playing an important role. The one is a stalk and the other is a stem. stalk is a rooted portion. Now this is a plant pot. This is a plant. It is a rooted one, which means it contacts with the soil. And sure is a part of plant. It has not contact with the soil. It's a sharp, and its end is made very sharpened, right? This is called a sharp. So these are two different plant parts are joined together by the process that is called grafting, by which new plants are produced, right? That is called the grafting technique, right? So in grafting, simply there are two different parts of plants are joined together by which an organism is produced artificially. That is called a grafting technique. Now, grafting is broadly divided into following types. I'm talking about the types of grafting. As I mentioned, grafting, it is the following types. The first category is bud grafting, and the second type is approach grafting, and third type is tongue grafting, and fourth category is crown grafting. The fifth type is wedge grafting. I repeat once again, grafting is broadly divided into 5 types. The first type is bud grafting, the second one is approach grafting, and third one is tongue grafting, and fourth type is crown grafting, and fifth type is wedge grafting. So I'll explain one by one. First of all, let me take bud grafting. What is bud grafting? Actually, in bud grafting, it's a type of grafting in which this is a stalk in which a T-shape incision is made artificially. An incision is made, the bark of the rooted plant, or stalk is removed, and another scion is taken from the scion. From the scion, there is a T-shape is removed. T-shape incision is created, made on the stalk and scion. This is a A plant, and it's a B plant. And the A in which a T-shape bark is removed out, and another plant B is taken, B plant is taken, from which a T-shape bud-like structure is also removed. And these A and B, the stalk and scion are joined together by using polythene paper or craft wax, right? So as a result, we can get, now this is the third type, is in which the T-shaped bud-like structure is inserted and which is tied with the help of craft wax or polythene paper, right? After some time, what will happen is the inserted portion of stalk, the stalk and scion, which are joined together at a point in which the bud-like structure, the bud which emerges out, the new bud arises. New bud arises, and later on it grows new plant, right? After emerging new plant from the stalk, it is a detached and which is planted in a suitable condition of the soil and it grows new plant. This is one of the method of grafting technique in which bud-like structure is inserted in the stalk region and the new plant is formed, right? This is a bud grafting. Second one, approach grafting. Actually, approach grafting is a technique in which there are two plants are taken. As I mentioned here, stalk and shan is also played. Stalk and shan. Stalk is very long. This is a stalk plant. Stalk, as I mentioned, stalk. Stalk is a rooted plant. Now, this is a rooted plant in which a potted plant is also taken. A potted plant is taken, and the stalk of the plant, its branches is tied with the shear of the potted plant. Now, a potted plant is taken. The potted plant is also taken. So both the stalk and shan which are tied with the help of polythene paper or graft wax. It is tied with it, right? It's a shan and stalk. So here stalk and shan are joined together. I mean the branches of the stalk which is going to tie with the branches of potted plant. As a result, the tied portion where a new bud arises, that bud grows into new plant, right? New branches are formed. So the developed branches from the stalk and shan are joined together at a point. The plants are separated and which are planted to the suitable soil to grow new plant. That is a method that is called approach grafting, right? Before that, I must introduce grafting is a technique in which some plants are possible to be grown, right? Such as citrus and mango and apple. So these plants can be artificially propagated by grafting technique, right? So next, the third type is tongue grafting. A tongue grafting is a technique in which both the stalk and shan are slightly sliced, obliquely sliced. I mean, the stalk is cut with this is a stalk shan, and the stalk. This is another plant. There are two plants are taken in which plant pods are cut with end point with the right. So this is called So there are two different plants taken in which the part of shan and the stalk are obliquely cut and which are put together, which are joined together. As a result, we can get new plant, right? Right. This is called tongue grafting, right? So the place where obliquely joined together, in which new buds are arising, right? this bud which grows into new plant. This is a tongue grafting technique, right? After separation, this leaf for the leafy portion branches emerged from the obliquely joined together, in which that the new plants are originated or growing developed by a tongue grafting technique, right? The next type is a crown grafting, which are joined together. As a result, we can get the tongue grafting, in which after joining a stalk and scion, the stalk and scion are obliquely placed, joined together. This is a stalk portion, right? And here it forms the new branches, right? So after separation of these branches from the stalk and scion of tongue grafting technique, it is grown into new plant, right? Next, crown grafting. Actually, crown grafting, in which there are two plants are taken. One is a large size and the other is a small size. I'm talking about fourth type of grafting technique, that is a crown grafting. I'm talking about crown grafting, in which a scion is made very sharp, and this is a scion which is made very sharp and at one point, at one end, and the stalk, this is a scion, and the stalk is very larger than that of scion. This is a stalk. The stalk is very wider, very large in size, because it is rooted with the soil, and the surface of the stalk, I'm talking about, this is a stalk. The surface of the stalk, there is a slit, or it is clefted. I mean, a cavity is created, in which the scion and stalk which are joined together. As a result, we can get, after insertion, this is a scion. Scion is a piece of wood, piece of plant part. It has not contact with the soil particle, but it is able to insert the place where cleft is made in the stalk region, the stalk portion of the plant. Now this is a stalk portion in which scion is inserted, where the cleft or slits of stalk. So after insertion, new buds are emerged out. Now these buds may develop into a number of buds are emerged out. These buds may be developed into new branches of the plant, right? This is a way by which a new plant will propagate vegetatively. Simply, I can say crown grafting is a technique in which scion is smaller in size and stalk is very larger in size. because the stalk is rooted with the soil and Sean is aerial part, and the end of Sean is made very sharp, which is inserted the place where of stalk a cleft is made or a slit is made. In the cavity, the Sean is inserted. As a result, the formation or the emergence of new buds from the Sean and stalk joined together by a crown grafting technique, right? So these buds are developed and grown as a new species, right? That is called the crown grafting. So here you have to concentrate. Crown grafting is a technique in which Sean is smaller in size and stalk is larger in size. That is to underline. Please, students, please understand. In crown grafting technique, Sean is a smaller and the stalk is a larger. Understand, right? Next we pass on to veggie. I'm talking about veggie grafting. Actually, veggie grafting is a technique in which I'm talking about veggie grafting. Here, stalk and Sean are same size. Sean is same in thickness, both the Sean and the stalk. What are Sean and stalk? I'd like to remember once again to you. Both of them are two different parts of the plant. Both Sean and stalk are different parts of the plant, which are taken in same size. Sean and stalk, which are same in size and thickness also. And the end of Sean is made sharpened like a veggie shape, and the stalk, the surface of the stalk, there is a cleft is made. Here cleft is made. I mean a cavity is made. So as a result, its stalk, both the Sean and stalk are joined together. What is it? It's a soil. It's a soil. And the stalk region where the Sean is inserted. So it develops new buds, right? There is a buds which grows. A number of buds are originated, right? So after these buds are after emergence of buds which are developed in a suitable soil, as a result we can get new species from the stalk portion. So this is simply something about types of grafting. I repeat once again, grafting is a technique in which there are two different plants are taken and made as a stalk and Sean, which are joined together, by which a new species are originated or produced, developed vegetatively, because this vegetative organ of the plant are taken, right? So grafting is reported in following cases. The first one is a citrus, and the second category is a mango, and third category is the apple. So they are the example of a grafting technique, right? So grafting is broadly divided into following types. The first type is a bud grafting, second one is approach grafting, third type is a tongue grafting, fourth one is a crown grafting, and the next one is a veggie grafting, right? But next we pass on to layering. Actually, I am talking about the third method of artificial method of reproduction. that is layering method. My dear students, this is a third type one, that is a layering technique. Layering is a technique in which the plant pot or allowed to soil particle. Now this is a plant in which the lower branches of the plant are allowed. The lower part of the plant are allowed to the soil particle in order to develop new plant. That is a layering technique, right? So layering technique is reported in following cases. The first category is Ixora cardinia, and second is a jasmine. Jasmine technique. Simply the plant parts are allowed into soil particle, right? To germinate, to develop, to emerge new plant. That is called layering technique. Layering is reported in case of Ixora cardinia and jasmine flower, right? So this is an example for layering technique. So layering, it is divided into two types. The first type is layering is a technique in which the lower part of the branches of the plant are allowed to ground level. After allowing the lower part of the branch, which is burying the soil, and develops into new branches, by which new organism, a new species, a new plants are developed or propagated or produced, right? That is called layering technique. Now layering, it is of two types. The first type is mound layering. Type 1 is mound layering.
Okay, students, there's a small technical issue. Kindly wait on that.
Dear students, please stay online. There is a technical issues. My dear students, once again welcome back to Zoom class. There is a technical issue. Sorry for the inconvenience, right? Let us continue. Okay, layering is divided into two types. The first type is mound layering. And the second type is air layering. Mound layering and air layering, right? I repeat once again, layering is divided into two types. The first type is a mound layering and the second type is a air layering. Okay, what is mound layering and what is air layering? I'm talking about, this is the first type. Let me take first of all mound layering. Mound layering is one of the type of layering technique in which the lower branches of the stem are allowed the soil or ground level. After allowing, the lower part of the stem is buried in the soil, right? It is buried. Simply the lower branches of the stem is allowed to bury in the soil, and on the other side, the branches which emerge out, as a result, it forms new leaves, new branches. This is called a mound layering, right? The mound layering is a method of layering technique in which the lower part of the branch, this is the lower part, the lower part of the branch is allowed to the ground, to the soil, and which is buried into the soil. After that, the new plant is originated. New branches is originated on another side, the place where the branches is bending down and burying the soil, where new branches emerged out. So after separation of these branches on the burying of soil, it is transplanted in a soil suitable condition, and it develops into new plant. It develops to form a new species. That is a technique, right? It is the reported case of Ixora and Jasmine. Ixora and the Jasmine plant. The next category is air layering. Actually, air layering is a method in which the part of the plant is girdle. Now, this is a plant. This is a branch plant, and the part of the stem is removed, and you can see at the center, you can see cambial tissue. Simply the bark is removed out. Simply the bark is removed. Here cambium is only present. The bark is removed. It is removed. So bark is removed. As a result, we can get a cambial part. Again, the nodal region where the bark is removed, or the stem which is girdle in the nodal region, or the stalk plant which is tied with the damp soil, or the soil is tied with it. It is tied with the damp soil with the help of polythene paper. So you can get, this is a polythene paper or moist soil. Moist is remain, or which is tied with the polythene paper. The polythene paper is taken and tied with where the nodal region where it is bark, or the bark region or the outer covering is removed or girdle, the nodal region. The polythene paper is tied that includes the damp soil or soil or soil moisture, right? As a result, we can get a new plant. Now, at third stage, in the girdle region, girdle or the bark is removed, or the damp soil is tied with the help of polythene paper, you can see the emergence of new plant. On the end of this girdle, you can see new branches are originated. So these branches, newly formed branches, are transplanted in a suitable soil. It develops into new plant, right? So this is a lowest category, that is air layering. I'm talking about air layering, right? The first category is mount layering. Air layering is a technique in which part of the stem is removed. I mean, the girdle, the nodal region is made as a cavity, or the outer covering is removed, in which damp soil is taken, which is applied with the help of polythene paper. It is bound tightly with the help of polythene paper, and which is left out for a few days, for a few months, right? 1 to 4 months. After leaving this technique for 1 to 4 months, what will happen is initiation and emergence of new branches. The place where the polythene paper is tied, that enclosing damp soil, the emergence of new branches, new bud, new plant, you can see. These plants are, these branches, newly formed branches are separated, which are transplanted in a suitable soil that grows new plant, right? So this is simply something sort of air layering technique. And next we pass on to what are the advantages of this technique. We have so far discussed artificial methods of vegetative reproduction, and what are the advantages and the disadvantages of this technique. What are the advantages? What are the advantages of this technique? The first one, Here, by this technique, those plants are produced which are genetically uniform. The first point is the plants are produced by this technique. All the plants are genetically uniform. Second one, by this method, many more plants are produced quickly. So many plants are produced by this technique in very short period of time. Many plants are produced by this method in short time, I mean very quickly, right? The third one is those plants are produced by this technique which are very economically valuable. I mean, the economically important plants are produced in large number by this technique. So economically important plants are produced in more number by this technique. Economically useful plants are produced a large number in this technique. And many more plants are produced with the desirable characters. Many plants are produced with the desirable traits, with the disease resistant, drought resistant variety can be produced by this technique. And what are the disadvantages of this method, artificial? I'm talking about artificial method. Disadvantages. What are the disadvantages? When we use stock and shear as a major part of the plant in grafting technique, the plants are affected by viral infection. As a result, we can get infected plants. So it is possible to get viral infected plants. Because when we propagate infected plants by virus, as a result we can get again viral infected plants. That is one of the advantages, disadvantages of artificial method. And the second one, actually mostly vegetative part of the plants are used in the technique because the structure is very wider. So hence it is very difficult to handle and store. So it is very difficult to handle and store. So this is a disadvantages of artificial method of vegetative reproduction. I repeat once again. So far we have discussed the following topics. So far we have discussed number of many topics. Artificial method, it is up to conventional and the modern method. Conventional, it is the following types: cutting, grafting, layering technique. And cutting is further classified into following types: root cutting, stem cutting, leaf cutting. And root cutting is an example for root cutting is Malus sylvestris, and stem cutting Hibiscus bougainvillea, Moringa tinctoria. For leaf cutting, Begonia, Bryophylla. And grafting is nothing but stalk and shear are made. Stalk with the rooted in the soil particle, and shear is aerial one. It does not contact the soil, which are joined together by the process, that is a grafting technique, in which there are two different plants are taken and joined together to form new species. That is a grafting? Grafting is following types: bud grafting, approach grafting, tongue grafting, crown grafting, and wedge grafting. So already we have discussed more and more. Right. Next, we must do layering. And now layering is nothing but the plant pot of whether desirable plant which are allowing to the ground in order to grow, in order to emerge new plant species. To form a new, that is called the layering. It is up to mound layering and air layering. So layering is a report in case of Ixoda and Jasmine, right? So thank you for joining, students. If there is any clarification, students, this is a time for discussion, interaction. If you have any doubt regarding the topic, you may ask. I am ready to clarify. Students, it's time for interaction. First of all, did you understand what I mean? What I taught to you? This is a topic that we have discussed. Students, here you can expect many more questions. What is cutting? Then what is called conventional method? And what is micropropagation? Actually, micropropagation is a technique which is artificially produced by plant tissue culture technique, right? Through plant tissue culture techniques, we can produce an organism reproduces vegetatively in artificial technique, laboratory condition, that is a micropropagation. Or what is cutting and classifies cutting, right? Students, any doubt regarding the topic? If you don't have any doubts, make an assignment and try to send it to your respective subject teacher, right? Thank you. Any doubts? Any questions? My dear students, how did you understand grafting from layering? Can anybody answer? Students? It's time for interaction. Today just we have discussed a simple topic, that is the artificial method of vegetative reproduction. Simply it is of three. They are cutting, grafting, and layering. Please remember cutting. What are cutting? Please remember and draw the diagram. You can understand very easily. It's time for interaction. What is grafting? What are the major portions are involved in grafting? Stalk and stem. Students, if there is any clarification, any doubt, please ask. You are freely allowed to raise a question. Any doubts? Now sometimes here you can expect what is grafting and classify its steps. You can expect in examination as a 5-mark question, what is grafting? And classify its types. What is grafting and classify its types? As I said, budding, bud grafting, approach grafting, tongue grafting, crown grafting, wedge grafting. I have drawn number of diagram for each category, each type. Right? Thank you for joining. Once again, thank you for one and all. Students, you can raise any question.
Is it clear? Did you guys understand?
Did you understand?